So how do you catch fraud? One thing that we've started is using checkpoint ID. These are advanced screening tools. You can use them at the properties. They're software. And our on-site teams have even seen fraudsters. They'll walk away the moment they spot the checkpoint ID sticker at the door. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Keeping It Real Estate. If you're a real estate investor or you've been thinking about diving into real estate investing, today's episode is going to be about taking care of fraud and taking care of your company. And you got to listen to this. This is critical information. And over the past few years, there's been a huge rise in fraud, both at the asset level, and we've seen this like in apartment applications and at the investment level as well when you're looking at putting capital into deals. So these scams are targeting passive investors, and you got to know about what's going on to protect yourself. And if you're a general partner, great to know what's going on as well so that you can help protect your passive investors. So we're going to dive into the latest data on fraud trends and share actionable strategies to protect yourself in 2025. So let's get going here. And to stay up to date on all things real estate investing related, hop on our email list at www.granitetowersequity.com/invest, and you'll be able to see all of our future deals and get to know us as general partners. So segment one of this podcast is fraud in leasing. And so fraud in leasing has been skyrocketing. It's a huge problem. Ever since the pandemic, property managers and landlords have been grappling with just massive increasing fraud cases. And here are some key stats to paint the picture for you guys. This is according to TransUnion. 60% of property managers surveyed reported being victims of fraud in the past 2 years. Shockingly, 1/3 of these scams weren't even identified until after the resident had moved in. And then a recent survey from the National Apartment Association revealed that 93% of owners, developers, and managers experienced fraud in the past 12 months. The most common tactics, they're falsifying pay stubs, employment references, and income documents. And I can tell you guys right now, it's a huge problem on some of our deals. Generally, in lower income demographics, you have people who have fake pay stubs, they have employment references that aren't real, and their income documents are not real. So you don't know who's actually moving into your property. And it's very difficult for your on-site teams, if they're not trained, to catch it and stop it before the resident moves in. Another big red flag that you need to watch out for is the time between the first contact and the move-in. So we all know moving is a huge decision. And most people take time to evaluate, like, hey, my lease is coming up. I'm going to be moving in 3 to 6 months. Let's start shopping. Let's go and look at some of these other apartments. So if you have someone pushing for same day approval and move in, that's a major warning sign. You got to have your on-site team members really tuned into this, because they might be looking at a lease. They might be looking at a bonus for their lease, because sometimes the bonuses can be tied to leasing units. And so are they doing the thorough checks, or do you have systems and processes in place to detect that? And so when you have people trying to rush the process, you should be thinking, hey, what's going on here? Is this real? So how do you catch fraud? One thing that we've started is using checkpoint ID. These are advanced screening tools. You can use them at the properties. They're software. And our on-site teams have even seen fraudsters. They'll walk away the moment they spot the checkpoint ID sticker at the door. So it's a powerful deterrent. We've done a lot of research on different companies, and checkpoint ID has proven to be a great performer to help with catching fraud. And then vet your property manager as well. Make sure that they are aware of these issues and they have a robust process in place to combat fraud, and they've had the training needed to identify and review applications so that you don't get illegal folks in your apartment causing problems. So summarizing this, combating fraud at the leasing level requires vigilance and training for your on-site team and the right tools. Again, we're using checkpoint ID. So ensure your property management team is proactive and well equipped to handle all these challenges to keep the fraud level down and reducing your risk. The second part of fraud that we're going to talk about today is investment fraud. So it's not just leasing where fraud is rampant. Investment scams are also on the rise, and the numbers are quite staggering as well. So we went and took a look at the Federal Trade Commission. The FTC reported that consumers lost over $10 billion to fraud in 2023, with 4.6 billion attributed to investment scams alone. So that's a 21% increase from 2022. And the most common types of scams include imposter scams, cryptocurrency fraud, and phishing emails. Email scams in particular became the top method for reaching victims, overtaking text messages and phone calls. And the FTC has been working to address these issues by cracking down on illegal telemarketing, banning impersonator fraud, and confronting emerging forms of deception like AI-enabled voice cloning. We had a gentleman on our podcast not too long ago, and he did an AI-enabled voice cloning of myself and Mike, and I honestly couldn't tell that person wasn't me. I knew I hadn't said it, and I knew I was just on the podcast, but the voice was exactly the same. So it's kind of scary to hear how great the AI is able to reenact your voice. But the responsibility, it also falls as us on investors to stay vigilant. So how can you protect yourself as a passive investor? Number one, the best way is get to know the general partner team well. So before investing, thoroughly vet the leadership team and ask for their track record, especially for properties that have gone full cycle. Speak with previous investors to understand their experience. Have key questions like, how's the team's communication? Have they met or exceeded pro forma numbers? Would you invest with them again? And then take it a step further by talking to the GPs on the phone or scheduling a video call. I mean, there's no way I would invest capital with a general partner if I didn't get on a video call and have somebody else say, I've invested with this person and they've done a great job. So those would be the first steps that would really allow you to verify this person is legit, and it'll help you allow to gauge their professionalism, knowledge, and transparency. And, a real conversation can reveal much more about their integrity and how they handle investors' relationships than an email ever could. And then number two, verify everything. Always verify wire instructions by calling the sender directly. Scammers often intercept emails to provide fake instructions, which is just sickening. So you've got to get on the phone and connect with a real person at title or the general partner to verify you have correct and accurate wire instructions. And then third, enable two-factor authentication. Use 2FA for all your investor portals, bank accounts, sensitive online platforms. And as we mentioned earlier, this simple step can prevent unauthorized access. So in closing, fraud has been growing and it's a growing concern, but with the right precautions, you can significantly reduce your risk. And whether you're managing assets or investing passively, diligence is key. Just stay informed, use the best tools available, and always trust but verify. And if you found today's episode helpful, don't forget to share it with your network. And as always, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out with any questions. Let us know of any topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes. And thanks for tuning in. And we'll catch you next time on Keeping It Real Estate. And don't forget, for more insight and updates, join our email list, www.granitetowersequitygroup.com/invest. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time on Keeping It Real Estate.